Welcome to episode number 371 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for all of you marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. You can find us by searching for Beyond Social Media Show. We are recording on February 13, 2022. A lot of things to talk about this week, as usual. True love at the train stop. Apple's realityOS, SuperBowl ads, gamifying digital literacy, literally crappy marketing, a Spotify/Joe Rogan case study, the fall of Forbes, and stick around for the annual trust barometer for some statistics on trust in our current world. But we kick it off with best story of the week, and BL always has that honors. BL, what do you got?
Well, this is a love story apropos Valentine's Day, and it's a marketing story because it comes from the Bay Area Rapid Transit blog. Basically, it's a great marketing story, and it's about two people who fell in love on an empty train platform and ended up marrying. So there's plenty of reasons to use public transportation. It's greener, it's cheaper, but here's another one: you might fall in love. And so here it is. It's Thanksgiving morning, 2001. San Francisco's a ghost town, and the train station's empty. And in the early morning at Embarcadero Station, except for these two people, the guy wasn't sure he was on the right side of the platform for the direction he was going in. And so his question about that was the start of the most unlikely romance and a marriage that has now gone on for 17 years and resulted in two kids. So his name is Gene Willis, and he asks the only other person if he's on the right side, and she tells him it is, and then they chat a little. His train comes first. He gets on. Something makes Bart Guy, they're known as Bart Guy and Bart Girl, something makes Bart Guy get off his train. And he describes himself as shy, not the kind of person who talks to women in bars, and said to this day he doesn't know what made him turn around and get off. He just thought to himself, I will never see this woman again if I don't talk to her right now. So he takes this risky move, and he asks her for her phone number, and she gives him her office number, and he figures, well, she doesn't want to talk to me because it's the office number, but maybe she doesn't, maybe it's fake, and but he calls her, and they talk for half an hour. They go out that night. They've been together ever since. Happy Valentine's Day.
That's sweet. That's sweet.
Bart Girl and Bart Boy.
Mm-hmm. And that's a lesson to marketers. Ask your customers for their stories, because that's a great story, and put it in the context of what you've got to offer, and then you'll be talked about on podcasts. Cool. So this is short, but I am excited about it. Kind of mixed feelings, but mostly excited. I recently so Pam finally bought me my Christmas present, and I got the Oculus, and so I've been playing with the Oculus, and that I don't want to give Facebook any props at all, but it is really good. It is what I expected VR to become way back when I first started, the early 90s, when I first experienced VR. The immersive communications, the immersive experience, the immersive entertainment is coming soon and quickly. And Apple is hot on the heels of Facebook. So this is from a Verge article by Tom Warren, who writes about some developers having spotted additional mentions of a new realityOS within Apple code. It was first referenced as ROS in 2017 by Bloomberg News, and realityOS was spotted as part of some pre-releases of the iOS 13 builds, according to Mac. According to 9 to 5 Mac, developers have found references now to realityOS and GitHub. So they're working on it. Apple is working on it. That's exciting to me because Apple does know design. They know how to present a fantastic experience. And so I expect when Apple does come out with their virtual reality product or headset, it is going to be pretty freaking awesome. I also expect it's going to be pretty freaking expensive too.
Yes.
So, so that's my mixed feelings about it. But the immersive entertainment is in your future, marketers.
Yeah, that's for sure. So speaking of entertainment, I am not a person who cares one way or the other about football or the Super Bowl. I have a friend calling me when it's halftime, but I do care about the ads, and you can watch all the ads on YouTube's AdBlitz, and then you don't have to sit through the game. And then YouTube lets you decide which brands scored big with their game day ad too. And the five ads that are most viewed by February 20th will be given the honor of entering the AdBlitz winners circle. So it's also a great day to do laundry, by the way. So also Google Assistant will answer all your questions about the Super Bowl, and we'll put a link to both of these in the show notes. So I'm happy I don't have to worry about the game anymore.
I'm looking forward to watching the game. I usually am ambivalent about it because the Vikings haven't been in it since the 70s, so I don't have a stake in it. But this year, the Rams and the Bengals, Cincinnati Bengals, are two teams that are pretty likable.
So
they don't
people
have,
say,
they don't
okay.
have anybody on their team that's an asshole like the Green Bay Packers or the Minnesota Vikings. So I'll be happy watching it, and I'll be working as well. But the only problem I have with the Super Bowl is it's Super Bowl Sunday. And Bia, what comes after Sunday?
Monday.
And what is Monday? It's a work day. Everybody has Super Bowl parties on a Sunday. Why can't the NFL figure out that it would make sense for their fans to have it be on a Saturday and not a Sunday? So you
Good question.
have your hangover on Sunday morning, not Monday. So
well,
anyway.
That's a tradition that's been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
So does that bring us to the worst news?
It does not. It does not. I have another gaming story.
Okay.
This is from BBC's Mark Sedgwick, who writes about Cambridge University. Some researchers at Cambridge University have developed a video game that teaches people how to spread misinformation, how to spread misinformation about COVID-19. Now, why is that a good story?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that.
Exactly. So the game is called Go Viral, and it simulates the feed of a disinformationist. So rather than trying to combat, the way that media and everybody tries to combat disinformation or misinformation is by educating people that the particular story is false, right? But this game teaches you the techniques that disinformationists use, so you can recognize the tactics regardless of what the actual story is about. So if you're understanding how people are trying to manipulate you, understanding the tactics, then you're better able to recognize when somebody's spreading false news and therefore not spread it yourself. So we'll put links to it in the show notes, and the game is Go Viral. GoViralGame.com. So we'll put a link to that in the show notes.
That's really interesting, Dave. I'm looking forward to looking at that. So this is an example of seriously crappy marketing, quite literally. This is a Hawaiian Tropic mistake. I wrote a blog post about it. I ordered a year's worth of biodegradable poop bags for my dog Lucy, and in the box comes 2 rolls of sample poop bags, like bonus poop bags, and they are the most stinking example of crappy marketing because they are scented with Hawaiian Tropic. However, unfortunately, when you mix Hawaiian Tropic scent with plastic, it's truly gross. And then when you put poop in the bag, it's completely disgusting. So, I would like to have been a fly on the wall when somebody said, what a good idea, and so it said something about, this is a positive reminder to put your sunscreen on. And, it was just pink bags infused with the scent of Hawaiian Tropic. And it said, yep, the suntan, offering a reminder to pause and apply your sunscreen before walking your dog. Well, if they wanted to actually spend $1 million on this marketing campaign, or however many millions they spent, if they had put a sample of Hawaiian Tropic, little travel size tube, in the box and said, don't forget to put this on when you walk your dog, I might have liked that and appreciated that. But the fact that I have to smell Hawaiian Tropic when I pick up dog poop, ooh, gross.
So, okay, so Hawaiian Tropic is a sunscreen.
Yes.
I didn't get that. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it could have been a good idea. The problem was they apparently did not have any user testing to find out whether it actually was a good idea, right?
Right. Did you ask any dog owners? I mean, I pick up poop after my dog at least twice a day. And, you know, I want to use like the most environmentally friendly bag I can use. Hence, I order from poopbags.com. And, you know, I mean, this was just ridiculous. So now I have, you know, I'm going to throw them away because they're disgusting. But before I do that, I showed them to so many people and they just laughed and laughed and laughed at how ridiculous. So big fail.
So what's the phrase? Eat your own dog food? Isn't that the idea, right?
Spread your own.
All right. Yeah. So this is it can be either good or bad. We've talked about this in the past episode of Spotify's controversy with Joe Rogan and Neil Young and everything that followed.
And everybody else. Yeah.
Everybody else. Yeah. I have a phrase that I use called the reputation algorithm. And it is a phrase I use it's basically shorthand for how online behavior influences algorithms interpretation of a reputation. And so I use it just to kind of frame up a conversation about how to think about how all these algorithms interpret data and behavior online. So I'm working on a presentation to discuss the reputation algorithm, and the Spotify Joe Rogan story is a perfect case study to use in my presentation. So you're going to get a bit of a preview into my case study here. So as like January 23rd about, I think, Neil Young posted this message on his website asking his managers to have Spotify remove his music from the platform's catalog because of Joe Rogan's spread of COVID-19 vaccine disinformation. The Rolling Stone picked up the story shortly thereafter, the next day or something, and in the story, it referenced that 270 doctors, physicians, and science educators had signed an open letter asking Spotify to stop Rogan from spreading COVID misinformation. That was the month before, and likely prompted Neil Young's interest as well. January 25th, a couple of days after the Rolling Stone publishes, Neil Young's streams spike. So Variety's Chris Williams reports that that prior to first making noise about warning off Spotify on the 24th, his daily on-demand streams in both audio and visual formats were tailing somewhere between low 550,000 and the high 715,000, usually reliably around 600,000 each day. The day after news of his ultimatum broke, the total streams rose dramatically from 619,000 to 860,000. And the day after that, sharply again to 1 million, a little over 1 million. And his numbers continued to rise after Spotify cleared out their catalog. So not even counting anything on Spotify after they cleared out Neil Young's catalog from its archives on January 28th. The listeners who were diverted to Amazon Music, Apple Music, Tidal, and other services, he reached a peak to date of 980,000 streams, and then followed that the following day for 1,000,000.02.
Wow.
Yeah, so that behavior, that news prompted behavior of people to seek out his music and start streaming his music, and that's data that algorithms start paying attention to, right? And so it tells you something about Neil Young, his reputation, the fact that people are behaving this way online, creating all this data for algorithms to interpret. Other news organizations pick up on the story after Rolling Stone reports on it. 9 pages of search results from January 24 to today. There were 9 pages of search results in Google News for Spotify, Joe Rogan as a search, Spotify, Neil Young as a search, and 7 pages for Spotify, or for delete Spotify. So a lot of coverage, a lot of news coverage of the story throughout the course of the controversy. And that news coverage prompts shares of those articles online. It prompts conversations about those articles online. And then so I did some social listening from social media from January 24th to today. Spotify mentions, there are 14.8 million. Delete Spotify mentions, there's 96,700. That's up 743,769% from the previous period. Joe Rogan mentions were 5.4 million. That's up 326% from the previous period. Neil Young mentions were 1.9 million, up 6,632% from the previous period. Then India Airy, who published a compilation of video clips of Joe Rogan using the N-word. That went viral, and so she's in the conversation now, and there were 17,900 mentions. That's up 1,056% from the previous period. And with her in particular, you see a flat line, flat line up until the point where she posts the video, and then there's, I mean, nobody was talking about her until she posted that video, and then there's a massive spike in conversation.
And all of this took place in about a week.
Yeah. And then Daniel Ek, the CEO of Spotify, is also mentioned. He did an escape notice, 841 mentions during that period, and that's up 804% from the previous period. But all that activity then again creates a bunch of data that algorithms interpret, and there's keywords associated with that. And so there's negative sentiment, there's positive sentiment, and those attached to the people that are being talked about, or the brands that are being talked about. And all that goes into how much visibility you're going to get as a result of this activity, as well as how that's presented online as a result of all that data.
That's really a fascinating bunch of numbers. I mean, you know, the question is what the long-term impact of it will be.
Well, it is. I've got more though.
That's okay. But I do know that Spotify's stock tanked right after that too.
Well, the February 9 web traffic to Spotify's cancellation page spikes as a result of the controversy. This is CNN's Oliver Darby talks about it. The analytics firm Similar Web had seen traffic cancellation spike 196% week over week from the previous set. And then about 19% of Spotify users say they canceled or plan to cancel Joe Rogan over the controversy from a poll. Again, Spotify's Todd Spangler reports, but that's more data that's being provided online that is interpreted and understood by, I mean, Google takes everything in, and
Right.
Google.
I canceled Spotify. I did that right away because I really, and then, well, in any case, that's an interesting study that you did. So I have one that, you know, a lot of people want to be or say that they are a Forbes columnist. And this past week, Forbes contributor prestige just ended. There goes Forbes contributor as a bragging point. And this is from an article in Neiman Lab by Josh Benton. And the in quotes, journalist, entrepreneur, and thief, Heather Morgan fancies herself a rapper. And I watched her rapping. Man, she's a better thief than she is a rapper. But she is, as one of her many YouTube videos demonstrates, not much good at rapping or dancing. But anyway, the story is that Morgan and her husband are accused of stealing and money laundering a few $1 billion with a B in Bitcoin. And the article explained how a Forbes contributor has become a sham. And she had more than 60 articles on her Forbes contributor page, including a story, get this, titled "Experts Share Tips to Protect Your Business from Cyber Criminals." And this actually are agencies. I didn't know this before. People on Fiverr and PR people who'll charge you up to $7,000 for a mention in a story that they write for Forbes. So it's really become a cesspool. Writers who contribute to Forbes say they're routinely asked by PR firms how much they charge to mention a client in an article. And there's actually an agency, Audience Bloom, that made it their business to charge for Forbes stories and mentions. They're still in business, but they changed their name to SEO.co. And guess who one of their clients is? Neil Patel. And he endorses them in one of their, in a couple of their YouTube videos. So he was quoted about the value of Audience Bloom in a testimonial on their site, and he recommends their services on video clips and in his newsletter. And he wrote about his great experience with the firm on his marketing blog. So there's a site that's called Get on Forbes, and it's very much alive, and it will charge you for getting on Forbes. So unless the story goes viral, the stories on Forbes are unedited, and contributors only get paid if they get a ton of traffic. So that leads to click bites. And it's really a shame because Forbes used to be highly respected. And, you know, that, I mean, that's kind of a joke, but a sad joke.
Yeah, I remember when Forbes was a magazine.
Right. It was a magazine of journalistic, you know, repute, honestly.
Yeah.
So, but not anymore. She took care of that.
Well, I mean, it's not just the pay to play kind of or whatever the dodgy contributions, but it's also a crappy experience online. I mean, it's just the
It's a
the
very
website
bad
is crap.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a smile after that.
All right. What do you got?
This is an essay, a photo essay, Love, Life, and Iconic Images from the New York City subway. And these are really wonderful, candid photos from a photographer in Brooklyn whose name is James Shabazz. And he captures really life underground in New York City. And he's going there looking for fashion, joy, and love. And he said, you know, we know the way life was before COVID, although it's hard to remember at this point. And, you know, connections and joy and intrigue were obvious. And so he went out and, you know, there are problems in the Black community, but his whole body of work is aimed at showing the other side of life in the Black community. And these took place obviously pre-COVID, but there's some wonderful images. And I have a link to his video explaining it. Really wonderful.
Very cool. Can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it's great.
Mine is I found this on LinkedIn. I don't know, it's in London. I don't know where in London, doesn't say where in London, but apparently somewhere in London there is a flight of stairs that fold away. So if you are in a wheelchair, you can activate these stairs. It's literally a short flight of stairs up into a building, and you can activate it, and the stairs will fold away and reveal a mini elevator that the person in the wheelchair can roll themselves into, and the elevator, the lift, will take you right up to the top of the stairs, and then you can get off, and the stairs will reveal themselves again and be normal stairs for anybody to use. But it was just
brilliant.
Yes, absolutely. So we got a video of it. I'll put it in the show notes for people to see. It's pretty awesome.
I love that. So I have a pro tip.
Well, let's get to shiny new stuff.
Oh,
first.
okay, go ahead.
I got one here. This is a book, 2022 Weird and Wacky Holiday Marketing Guide, Your Business to Marketing Calendar of Ideas. And we have talked about marketing calendars in the past that have, you know, all the holidays and conferences and all the things that you need to know, blah, blah, blah. But this is literally weird and wacky. So it's a compliment to all the things we've talked about before. The author's name is Ginger Marks. She writes one every year. So they're it's only available as a Kindle book. So they're available on Amazon, obviously. So today, here are some dates for today, February 13th. The firebombing of Dresden occurred in 1945. This, of course, was the inspired Kurt Vonnegut's classic novel of Slaughterhouse-Five. The first magazine was published in America on this date in 1741. It is Employee Legal Awareness Day today. It is also Get a Different Name Day. It's World Radio Day. It's Man Day, woo-hoo, for me. And it's Galentine's Day. I didn't know what Galentine's Day is, but Galentine's Day, I had to look it up. Apparently, it's designated to celebrate the important friendships in one's life. So, BL, my friend, happy Galentine's Day.
Oh, and to you, but I'm just wondering as you're speaking how the firebombing of where is related to marketing, unless you're
It's
a bomb
not.
maker.
Yeah, well, firebombing is a good point. Firebombing of Dresden, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I have a pro tip. Pinterest, which has a surprising amount of traffic, they've added a category called TryOn for home decor. They had it for makeup in the past. So they announced this new feature, and it lets you use the Pinterest camera to see what furniture and other accessories will look like in your home. And so you can adjust and move the items to see how they're going to look in your space, and you can get product and pricing information. So if you like it, then you can order it directly from the retailer. And so they launched this with CB2, Crate and Barrel, and Wayfair, and West Elm, and Walmart. And now it's available to private retailers, and it's a really good opportunity because home decor is the top category on Pinterest with 3.37 billion search clicks in 2021. 9 out of 10 weekly visitors seek inspiration in their path to purchase in the home category. Pinterest says its users are 5 times more likely to purchase from TryOn enabled pins than from standard pins. And this was the part that got me. They have over 450 million monthly active users, more than Twitter and Snapchat combined. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's a pretty popular platform. It's just a little limited in terms of, I mean, it's all visual related. So unless you've got beautiful visuals or things that are appropriate for that channel.
Yeah, well, if it's
yeah.
Well, obviously home decor, makeup, clothing,
makes
that
a lot of
sort of
sense.
thing.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up. I got some weekly numbers. The Edelman Trust Barometer is out, the annual survey that's done by the PR firm Edelman on the state of trust, basically, around the world. And here's some stats, some high-level stats from this year's report. Nearly 1 out of 2 respondents view government and media as divisive forces in society. 48% cited government and 46% cited media. I guess that's not surprising at all. Both institutions, government and media, have been long in decline in trust. But also then, given the past 4 years of Trump and then whatever years trying to recover from Trump, it's not surprising that government is in low regard. And then with a hyper politicization of media too, that makes a lot of sense that people would consider it divisive as well. So there's that. Then business is not doing enough to address societal problems. 52% cite that in the context of climate change. 49% cite it in terms of economic inequality, and 46% cite it in terms of workforce reskilling. But it is kind of these two categories of data go hand in hand with distrust and negative views of media and government. Business has an opening, and to kind of address social problems, but they need to do it in coalitions, I think, to have much
Real
more
impact.
trust.
Yeah. Well, that's really an interesting set of stats, and not surprising given the way that the state of our country at the moment. So that brings us to the end of episode 371 of the Beyond Social Media Show. And you find us by searching Beyond Social Media Show, and links to everything we talked about today will be on our blog, beyondsocialmediashow.com/371. And I am here with the ever charming David Erickson, who is D Erickson on Twitter. He's DE Erickson on Instagram. His YouTube channel is eStrategy, and he blogs at the wonderful e-strategyblog.com. I am BL Achman on Twitter. I'm What's Next. On my blog is What's Next Blog. My YouTube channel is What's Next Blog. My website is blachman.com. The show, again, we're at beyondsocialmediashow.com, and on Twitter we're at BS Media Show. So you can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, or you can tell your smart speaker to play Beyond Social Media Show. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. We're doing the show every 2 weeks now in our 11th year. And we thank you for being here today.
Thanks for watching.